Since the launch of Battlefield 1, it's been common to hear players complaining about the amount of scout players not attacking objectives, not defending objectives, sitting behind rocks, and trying to shoot people from miles away. It's not a complaint, however, that's just limited to Battlefield 1. Multiple titles in the past of the franchise have suffered from similar issues, but perhaps for slightly different reasons. In Battlefield 1, the Scout's bolt-action rifles are significantly easier to use than in previous games. You have faster bullet velocity and the sweet spot mechanic. That's where the rifle ramps up its damage to 100 over certain distances. Now, these 2 points have almost certainly contributed to an increase in the Scout class's popularity. They've alleviated certain skill-based gameplay situations. There's no longer such a focus on getting headshots with the Scout class. Use the sweet spot mechanic and you can deal 100 damage to the upper torso, which of course is a much larger target for you to hit. And add to that the faster bullet velocity, and you won't have to lead your target as much as you used to either. Bullet drag, another new mechanic introduced with Battlefield 1, that does slow down your bullet over time and thus increase bullet drop, but likely at those engagement ranges, you're not going to feel the effect all that often. Battlefield 1 actively encourages you to close the gap between you and your enemy. The Scout role shifted from Battlefield 4, where it was very much a class that operated at long ranges still, but I think it rewarded skilled shooting, and now in Battlefield 1, it's become far more accessible. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it has encouraged a lot more people to use the class over time. However, the Scout class might not be as popular as you think it is. Remember how I said that there's this general feeling that the Scout is an overused class and that servers are just full of them? Well, the Battlefield development team has released some information recently on the distribution of class usage, and it makes for some interesting reading. According to the developers, the most widely used class is the Assault class, taking up 31.7% of overall usage since Battlefield 1 launched, and honestly, I'm not at all surprised at that result. The class is extremely versatile, having weapons that can perform well at close and medium range, and of course, it has access to an abundance of explosive-based gadgets. You've got the anti-tank rocket gun, the anti-tank mine, the heavy anti-tank grenade, and soon the anti-air rocket gun as well in the Apocalypse DLC. Seeing as lots of Battlefield 1's maps are smaller than what were present in previous titles, it makes sense that the class with high close-range power sits at the top of players' choices. Next, we have the Medic class. I know, right? Who thought that would sit as the second most popular class in Battlefield 1? It is a fair distance behind the Assault class, taking 23.4% of total usage, but it still takes second place with that number, and I'm quite surprised. Since the launch, players have been complaining that the Medic class wasn't balanced in a way that it could be effective at what it was supposed to do. It had rifles that would work better at longer ranges, but gadgets that would favour close-range combat. The medical supplies and revive syringe need to be used up close, whereas your Selfsladder 1906, that's going to be better at range. Not only that, but considering DICE added the skip revive option into Battlefield 1, that massively reduced the effectiveness of the medic class and potentially caused people to revive less. I mean, what am I talking about? It definitely did reduce the effectiveness of the medic, and it stopped people reviving so much. It is a class that I wasn't expecting to be second, but it still has a lot of power, so there may be people out there who are choosing it because of those gadgets, or it may be that some of the weapons that have been added in DLCs are extremely good. Third in the popularity contest is the Scout class. 22.8% of the total usage is with the class that players have been saying is too visible, and there are too many people using it in matches, when really the data suggests it is the third most popular class. I've seen people spout some truly horrific words in the chat in Battlefield 1 servers about Scouts, so yesterday, when I saw one of those comments, I decided to count how many Scouts there actually were on my team after somebody complained about them. Of the 32 players on my team, only 6 of them were Scouts at the time, and the 31 players on the enemy team, 7 of them were Scouts. I actually tweeted out the stats last night and I had a reply from somebody questioning their truthfulness. I did this quick check and the stats kind of match what I saw in game. Of course, some servers and matches will have higher class densities than others. It really depends on the game mode and the map that you're playing, but overall, Scouts have accounted for 22.8% of class usage and come third. And unfortunately, that leaves the support class in last place. Poor old support class. Really got a severe nerf moving from Battlefield 4 to Battlefield 1. We moved away from those modern, versatile machine guns to heavier, primitive machine guns. Lots of slow-firing, low-damage weapons that really made the class less than interesting in my opinion. The recent weapon balance update has made it better, however, but only 22.1% of the split goes to the support class. I think as well, dissolving the engineer class that we last had in Battlefield 4 and giving the repair power to support was perhaps the wrong option as well. It didn't help that tankers and pilots could self-repair their own vehicles, so the overall power of the repair tool was significantly reduced, and honestly, still to this day, I don't see many support soldiers carrying the gadget. So the next time somebody tells you that the Scout class is overplayed and there are too many of them clogging up the server, maybe have a quick glance at the scoreboard and see if they're actually correct or not. DICE released a load of other stats as well. Apparently 52% of matches where the British Empire were involved were won by the British Empire. Over 1.8 million kills have been logged with the Calibri pistol. And since the North Sea update for the Turning Tides DLC, that's the January update, over 200 million spawns have already been logged for the British Royal Marines. That's a ridiculous number of spawn-ins. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to check the post out. But there you are, the Scout class really isn't as popular as you thought it was. Thanks very much for watching today, and make sure you stick around for tomorrow's video, the next episode of Battlefield 1's best weapons. But until then, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.